What's the cost of living in Bristol, Tennessee, Virginia? Are you thinking about moving to Tennessee or Virginia and would like to know how the cost of living compares between the two states, as well as the rest of the country? Hi, I'm Scott Henninger with the home team, broker by eXp Realty. Kim and I are in love with Tennessee and consider ourselves lucky to call Bristol home. And we specialize in helping out-of-state buyers relocate to the Northeast Tennessee and Southwest Virginia area. We have a unique perspective since our hometown Bristol straddles the state line. So I'm here to answer the question, how does the cost of living in Bristol, Tennessee and Virginia compare to each other and to the rest of the country? To give you a little background, cost of living indexes use the cost of things like housing, taxes, transportation, utilities, food, healthcare, and insurance, and combines them into an index where 100 is the national average. So anything below 100 is less. Anything above 100 means that the cost of living is higher than the national average. So let's start with housing. In the city of Bristol, Virginia, the median sales price of a home over the last 6 months has been $158,758. In Bristol, Tennessee, it was $175,000. So the median sales price difference between the two cities was $16,250 or 9.3% more on the Tennessee side of town. Just for comparison, if you get outside the city limits of Bristol, Virginia, but in Washington County, the median price was $202,500. The section of Sullivan County, Tennessee, outside the Bristol city limits, had a median sales price of $205,000, negligible difference. Since we're comparing the two cities, we'll work with those numbers that tell us that a home in Bristol, Tennessee might cost around 9% more than a similar home in Bristol, Virginia, and ignore the counties and the outlying areas. But how do these numbers compare to states like California and New York, where residents are leaving and coming here to live? Well, the average sales price in the state of California is $555,000 and $377,000 in New York State. When you couple the cost of buying the home plus factor in the property taxes, it's a no-brainer if housing costs are your primary reason for relocating. Next, a big one, taxes. One of the biggest differences in the two cities' cost of living has to do with taxes. Virginia has the advantage in sales tax, while Tennessee wins when it comes to income tax. Tennessee has among the highest sales tax rates in the country, 9.25% combined for general purchases and 7.25% on food. Virginia's sales tax rate is just 5.3% and 2.5% on food. More in line with national averages. Sounds like Virginia wins the tax advantages, but not so quick. Tennessee has no state income tax on earnings, whether you're still working or not. Neither income from wages nor retirement income are taxed by the state. You're likely to pay about 5.75% in state income tax in Virginia as long as your taxable income is over $17,000. So Tennessee wins on income tax, loses on sales tax. How do you make the best of the tax laws living in Bristol? Well, we live in Bristol, Tennessee, so we don't have to pay an income tax, but we save on our sales tax by shopping mostly on the Virginia side of town. That way we get the best of both worlds. In contrast, California state income tax rates range up to 12.3% depending on income and filing status, but people in the middle of the pack might pay around 8%. New York state income is taxed at around 6 to 7% for the same income group. There are a lot of people leaving the more heavily taxed states for Tennessee. We've recently had buyers come to the area from Arizona, from New York, California, Illinois, Connecticut, and more, partly due to the fact that they know they will get to keep more of their money. Not only is there no state income tax in Tennessee, but lower property taxes as well. Although the states of Tennessee, Virginia, and California all have similar property tax rates and are number 36 and number 34 in the nation respectively, thanks to property values being much lower in Tennessee and Virginia, you save a lot of money on property taxes. The average home price in California is nearly $550,000 instead of just $186,000 in Tennessee. And that translates to you paying on average 3.3 times more in property tax in California versus living in Tennessee. New York's property tax rate is nearly double that of both Tennessee and California at 1.3%. This translates to, on average, a New York State resident paying over 3.5 times more in property taxes than a Bristol resident when you figure in the average price of housing. The other costs of living for the area are similar for the most part. For example, the index for food and groceries is 94.9 in Tennessee versus 93.9 on the Virginia side of town. Gas prices are close, and of course it's easy to go from one side of the state line to buy cheaper, but Virginia's tax on gasoline is 26.2 cents per gallon, while Tennessee is 27.4. Utilities are typically less expensive on the Tennessee side of Bristol, with an index of 91.8 versus Virginia's 97.2% of the national average. Overall, the cost of living index, excluding taxes, is very close between Bristol, Tennessee and Bristol, Virginia at 77.4 and 76.9. So if you forget about taxes, Bristol, Virginia and Bristol, Tennessee come in at around 77% of the national average, well below. However, when you take into account Tennessee's lack of income tax and ability to shop on the Virginia side of town, Bristol, Tennessee wins the cost of living battle. And both cities beat out most of the country. You won't go wrong with either choice, especially if you're coming from one of the highly taxed states. In general, Northeast Tennessee is still a hidden gem, and our prices haven't been inflated yet by an influx of institutional cash investors and out-of-state buyers like the bigger metro areas have seen. I'm Scott Henninger with the Home Team, brokered by eXp Realty. My wife Kim and I would love to tell you more about why we call Tennessee home. If you'd like more information on our area, reach out to us or visit our YouTube channel for more videos about living here.